fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
All right, welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight it's the RGR Xfinity Winston Series. We got the Brickyard 160 live from Indianapolis. I'm Dean Doucette. He's Randy McCanny filling in for Mr. Jared Carr tonight. Randy down at Indy, you know, the home of IndyCar, but now NASCAR, 30 years here.
Yeah, this is one of the crown jewels for NASCAR racing since they started coming here.
It certainly is, man. I absolutely love this track. We get a look in on it right now, and you can see, I mean, everybody knows Indianapolis. Everybody thinks there's 4 identical corners, Randy. I mean, well, let me ask you, do we consider them 4 identical corners?
I absolutely do not. They are not identical. They drive different. The entries maybe in 1 and 3 are the same, but the exits on 2 and 4 are definitely feel different in the car.
Yeah, no doubt. I tend to agree. I mean, there's a lot of subjectiveness to these things. But yeah, a very unique track, and guys are going to have to get around here the best way they can. And I think the best way is kind of what the IndyCar drivers have been doing forever, Randy. You know, that low entry there, it just seems to work. It's exactly what those IndyCars do.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to run it just like an IndyCar. Get right to the bottom of the white line early. It helps wrap your car around the bottom. Tough passing in the corners, but you got to get a good exit off of the 2 and 4 and hopefully make a good draft, good push pass to get your entry into the other corners.
So we got a hot track here. Going to be a little slick tonight. And something else to consider, something that we talked about last week at Pocono, Randy, you can pit here under green conditions and not lose a lap. At certain different times, I can't come up with the exact scenarios, but you can benefit from that situation.
Absolutely. That's definitely where an undercut comes into play, and, you know, just to get some clean air, get away from a group of guys, you do a little undercut, you come out, possibly a caution comes out, everybody else pits, and you make up a ton of track position.
Take a look in on the points here as we get later on into the season. Here's still a ways to go, and Mr. Greg Ratliff out here got himself a nice, comfortable lead, but Wrecker's been hot. He's up into second. Ripka's returned. Watch out for him, already in third. You got Newton, a truck champion. Darren Bruce and Bernard Person always in the mix, along with Jason Spear. George Leal, Beller. I mean, all these guys have been race winners at one point or another. And George Dibble. Good to see George up in the top 10 points here.
Yeah, George having a great year so far. Out of that top field, you know, you have 10, 15 guys that absolutely you could pick to win tonight, and it would not be a shock.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Deep field, likely to go green flag here, which is going to be, you know, very interesting with the different pit strategies and whatnot. I don't know, a lot of guys, well, I'll say what Barron would say. First in, make him chase you. That's what he wants to do. What do you think, Randy?
I have to agree with Darren. First in, make them work their strategy around yours and make them chase you.
Yeah, Barron, he absolutely lives and dies by that. Mostly lives. He usually watches me die when I don't listen to him.
I know that feeling because I'm the same way.
All right, almost ready to get racing here. Warm-up coming to a conclusion. We'll be setting up our racing order momentarily, and there they go, getting ready. They can teleport to the start-finish line. I love that about racing. As I battle a little cold, so bear with me if I sound a little off tonight there, folks. I don't know about a cold, but stuff knows something in the air here tonight.
Must be something in the Canadian air.
Yeah, maybe that wildfire smoke coming in. Who knows what it is? But here's tonight's starting grid. You got Adam Recker out front on the pole. The number 11 put down a time of 53.624. Lance Ripka, Buckshot will be starting in second. Row 2 will feature Bernard Person and George Leal. Row 3, you got Scott Olson in the He-Hut machine, along with rookie Michael Ottoviani. You got Paul K. Travis and Eric Beller in row 4. Row 5, Ian Spear along with Darren Bruce. So good starting spot there for Ian. Adam Newton will start back in 11th with Nate Maurer. It's Greg Ratliff in 13th along with Rachel Hunt. You got Tony Ratliff and Jason Spear in row number 8. Row 9 is Gilly, the Toad Man that is, along with Lester. A little further back, you got James Bear. As I hit something wrong, bear with me. James Bear, Walker the second, yeah, Kulikowski, Mike Brown, Jacob Musial, and I'm pretty sure, Randy, you're up in the booth.
I hope so, because I'm not going to make many laps. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. You know, the tug and pull of how hard do you push early and how much tire do you save.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how these guys play these things. And, you know, the tire saving, absolutely big. We see it in this league a lot, right? You know, who's the guys that go out there early, and if they do they burn their stuff up? I mean, I expect some of this. Some surprises here tonight is, well, the Darren Bruce, who seems to have a bit of a connection issue right now, too, qualifying around 10th. You got Newton, a truck champion, back in 11th or 12th. So, a couple of guys that you expect to qualify better have to work through the field.
Yeah, and that definitely puts a strain on their strategy, but somebody like Darren, like you said, come in early, you know, get a good riding spot and just kind of keep in touch with that front and then make them work around your strategy.
Yeah, and Greg Ratliff back here as well in 13th. So, Indy, not an easy place to qualify. One little mistake, and it's a long track, and you'll carry that mistake around for about half this track. Adam Recker leading them down. Pace car darts to the left.
Green flag,
green flag, down and away. It's Recker and Ripka going down into corner 1. Person with a big push, going to try and take that second spot away from Buckshot Ripka.
Great start by Bernard.
Yeah, him and Leal's down there, so Ripka's stuck on the high side, a little difficult on cold tires up there.
Yeah, this is a place they'll want to get singled out pretty early, you know, and just try to log some laps and, you know, just stay in that draft.
You see, up front, they have settled it. Ripka fell back to 4th. It's Olson into 5th. Paul K moves up 1 into 6th. And then everybody else still fighting. Newton trying to move up a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's kind of settled in now. Just going to run a few laps, get some heat in the tires, see how the car's going to handle. Especially towards the back, get some dirty air. You definitely get some aero push.
Yeah, you definitely will. That will come into play here. There's no doubt about it. Now, you look for these guys. Traditionally, you see Bernard Person go out and get this kind of early lead. You know, Leo and Ripka a little more conservative in 3rd and 4th. But Record's a real wild card, being how he got the pole. We've been talking a lot about him, Randy, how he's been ascending here. You know, he's got wins coming in his future. Now that he grabs this pole, this clean air, and has some long run ability as well, man, this could be his night.
Oh, absolutely. He's got total control of the race right now, and he can place his car for that dirty air for Bernard behind him, and kind of just run his own race and force them to make a mistake.
Hop on board here with Paul K. Travis. Just kind of see what we can see. I like his entrance there.
Yeah, he definitely understands you. Enter these corners as low as you can and just hug that white line.
See here, just a little lower than the guys in front of him. This is going to pay off for him. Drift up a little bit there, maybe a little too hard on it. But Paul K., I like what I'm seeing early here. This could be a good night for the 88 machine.
Yeah, you get that left front out underneath the car in front of you, and you kind of get some clean air on it, and that'll help make it rotate, and it doesn't burn the tires off as much in the front.
Right in front of him, Olsen making a move on Ripka. So Ripka continuing to fade here, being very patient. Is this the case of the KG vet here with Ripka?
It very well could be. How much tires he saved. He's still in the front tag. He hasn't lost a lot of that. He's still in contention where just saving as much tires as he can later in the day.
Back. He's in 8th here. Otto Viani, Travis, Ripka, and Olsen up a bit on him. And there's Newton. I guess these guys have moved up a little bit, so they're working up. Here comes Ratliff as well. So those three staunch drivers, and it looks like Beller and Maurer right there fighting it out.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. You got to get to the corners off of twin four. You get such a great momentum run with the draft, and you can kind of get a big enough run where you can get on the inside of somebody going into the corner, and there's pretty much no defense of that.
Yeah, absolutely. At 4 of Beller, there's Maurer right in front of him. A little further back at Ian Spear, Rachel Hunt right here. There's Jason. I haven't talked about Jason tonight. He definitely could do something here. We'll see as the run goes along. There's a Toad Man along with Lester. A-Bear. We're at Jason Ratliff back here. A little surprised to see Jason. Jason, usually an early comer. He seems a little more patient here tonight.
Yeah, he definitely seems like he's playing that tire wear game of manage his tires early, let it run 10, 12 laps. Because 10 or 12 laps on this track's a long distance.
Certainly is. Back up front, Wrecker leading. There's your line of cars, a beautiful sight. So very calm Indy race here. This is going to be one of those late afternoons, those Sunday afternoon races where it's going to heat up come pit time. That shouldn't be actually all that long at this track, at least lap-wise. We're only on lap 6, but I don't know how many he can run, to be honest with you, here tonight, Randy, but I'm going to imagine it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 25, and, probably a lot less than that. I don't really know, though.
I am not 100% sure myself with the fuel load of these cars.
I'm trying to get that information for you folks right now.
I do know that, like you said, as the pit stops get closer, the intensity is going to start picking up, and there's going to be multiple strategies of short pitting, running long, the undercut, the overcut, just doing something different than the top 2 or 3 guys.
So according to my charts, Randy, full tank of gas around 34 laps. Now, I don't know if I can do 75% on the fly here. That might be too much math for this poor little Canadian.
Well, half of that would be 17. So roughly about 26 laps, 24, 26 in that range.
I like it because I said 25. You said 24, 26.
So we're in that 3-lap range.
I like it. That's about right. I think that's right in the area, which is interesting because it's not going to be fuel mileage. By the looks of it, there is no fuel mileage situation. taking down our race leader. Adam Recker, pole sitter, is out here leading this thing. Now, I do like, I know Bernie for running this track. You know, he can roll these corners pretty well, and it's pretty important, isn't it, Randy?
Oh, absolutely. And Bernie's really good at off the throttle, letting the car just roll, getting it down to that, and not using up his right front or his right rear tire.
Yeah, absolutely is. Wrecker, like I said, he's the wild card for me right here, right now. He's the best car. He's on the point. He's controlling the race. Can he do what he's done in the past? Have a good long-run car? Because he's got not just Person, but Leal right there. Leal has been really good on the long run. How about Scott Olsen, the He-Hut machine, though? Sitting in fourth. Oh, and here comes Ripka. Ripka let him go. Now he's coming back.
It's that early strategy of save some tires early, and you know, by this point in the race, you're going to starting to see the comers and goers.
You really are, and we're seeing it now. Here comes Otto Viani, kind of trying to look on Olsen a little bit. Behind him, Bruce into the picture. So Bruce is coming, and that's not a huge surprise, is it?
No, not at all. He's up 3 positions, but he just, from the start, he was not in a hurry. You know, let the tires come in. He knew the tire wear would come into effect.
Well, little tip, too. He's in that paint job, the old familiar paint job. A lot of victories in that one. Not feeling the new one so much. Been a little, not the victories haven't been coming. So gets the old paint out tonight. That can inspire you sometimes.
Absolutely. If you get a new paint job and, you know, you go 2-3 weeks and it's not performing for you, you put that back in the garage and pull out the one that was working for you before.
Yeah, the racers aren't superstitious, are they?
Never. Just about everything.
So that battle between Bruce, Otto Viani, and Olsen here is starting to heat up. Bruce takes to the outside to get around Otto Viani, and he'll do it. Wow, that middle lane there, he just cruised right by.
Yeah, that was definitely very impressive with how he just set it up, and he seems to be running entry of the corner a little bit higher and maybe, you know, a little fresher, saved enough of the tires that he could cut in the corner like that.
Yeah, well, there's many ways, you know, guys can skin a cat, so to speak. And if there's a different way than I know Darren Bruce would figure it out, there's no doubt.
And you see right there in that corner, he enters a little bit higher, but he can still get his car to cut down in the middle of that corner, get that great drive off.
Well, he is, and has that got anything to do with, say, a loose car or a tight car, Randy, or is this just kind of preference stuff?
I think it's a preference thing, because the majority of the cars are entering low and trying to hold it down there, and right now the cars are probably starting to tighten up where he saved a little bit of tire, he still has that rotation in.
Well, while we were doing that, we talked a little too long. We missed one. We apologize for that. But Bernard Person has taken over the lead, and Adam Newton shoots down the track. He got a little loose or something off the turn. Down the track he goes. But Person's starting to shed spots here. Or wait a minute, Person just took the lead. What in tarnation is happening, folks?
Those top 3 are under a blanket, and they are definitely racing.
Let's go back and look at this most recent pass. Person was out front. Something went wrong. And he just massively slowed up as he got tight towards the wall. He had to check up. Wrecker, big run. So there you go. That was that pass. Now Wrecker under heat from Leal. And it's looking more and more like Leal really set up here. But the top 3 remain in touch. Behind him, Ripka starting to reel him in. Here comes Bruce as well.
Yeah, and Lance, Ripka, and Darren Bruce, those were the earlier guys that, you know, they saved a little tire, just let the field thin out a little bit and over push it, and now it seems like...
On contact! Otto Viani goes in, roughs up Olsen, says, I'm taking this. Olsen doesn't look too happy. He's going to come back through the grass, goes Olsen. Wow! What is going on? Newton does
Boy, that's
avoidance. I'm telling you, Olsen is still unhappy. He's blocking. He's like, I want a piece of this Auto Viani. Stay away from me. Newton throws it in there. They run side by side, tight quarters.
And I'm sure that Olsen has got his blood pressure through the roof, and now he's just looking to race everybody.
You want to believe that's true. You get roughed up a bit high in the middle of the corner. That wasn't even slight. That was egregious. So he's hot under the collar right now, and he's going to race. Newton's paying for it because Newton's got to race him for all he's worth right now. But Olsen's got to hang on. I mean, you can't let all these cars go.
Oh, absolutely not. And then one car, and it's the snowball effect. One car gets by you, next car, and it's just slowing your lap down every time somebody's doing it.
Battle up front. Leal making his move. He's going to go by record. So put George Leal out front, your new race leader. And George, he's dangerous here. I mean, he could set sail. These guys got to stay in touch. Got to keep that draft.
Absolutely. They don't want him to get a big lead, because then you're going to chase his strategy and going to have to change yours.
Let's go back here and see what other mayhem's happening back here. Looks like Ratliff with Olsen and no contact. Ratliff almost losing. Great save by the number 5. Not sure who initiated contact, but nonetheless, Ratliff is now battling his brother Tony, who takes to the outside of him. So Greg has to regroup.
It's that whole snowball, when Scott got racing and got roughed up a little bit. There's 4 guys that go by him. You drive harder, you burn up your tires, and it just seems like it's a constant flow, and it upsets you more and more.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't look like he's done anything wrong, and he's been hit a couple of times. Now, I'm sure perspective can differ on opinions and all that, but yeah, the blood could be boiling. It's going to take a minute to simmer that down.
And that's absolutely what he needs to do. Just, settle down a little bit, just hit your marks, start running laps again, cool your tires down a little bit, because I'm sure beside his helmet, his tires are the next hottest thing.
Well, that's it. The ultimate thing is in racing is to keep your head right. I mean, if you're thinking about winning a race, you can't let other things affect you, and that's constantly the battle that you go through on a track. Because I'll give you an example here. Looking in on the 8 car, who's currently in 3rd, I've raced him many times. He'll get on your back bumper and take that air off the back of your car, and he'll do that for 10 laps in a row. It'll get you out of your groove. Oh,
absolutely. And then
sideways.
A huge save, another huge save. I think the cars are really going through a swing now where they're tight, and these guys just, not trying to lose an inch, or just in the throttle so hard off the corners, it's snapping it loose.
Yeah, I think you're right. That snap loose condition prevailing. In particular, I think that was corner 2 being very hard on these guys.
And wind direction does play a factor in it, and it could be blowing across the track and onto 2, just that little bit of wind pushing on the side of your car.
Let's go on board here with Lance Ripka. Just see. Now, I love that exit low and late. Let's see if he gets in a little early. He does. And low and late again here. It's a little sooner here, and that's going to take you towards the wall. That's tough there.
That is, and it's hard when you get that dirty air, and with cleaner air, it plants it.
It's super hard here at Indy with dirty air, no doubt about that. Got to let off more and anticipate that push to the wall, because it's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. And the longer you run, the more susceptible it is to happening.
And you can just see here, a really good driver in Ripka, almost seeming like he's frustrated here. He cannot gain ground on the car in front of him. And that is a proponent. You can see the equal spacing here. I mean, that's a telltale sign, isn't it, Randy?
Absolutely, for this track, and you just get stuck in that bubble. And no matter what you do, you're just stuck there. until the driver in front of you makes a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely correct. George Leal, your leader right now. Wrecker in second, Person third, Ripka in fourth. You go back, Darren Bruce, who just saved that car off a corner a lap ago. He's in fifth. He's up 5 spots. Otto Viani, right where he started, in sixth. Newton's up 4. He's got Beller and Maurer right behind him. Watch out for those two, along with Newton. A lot of good drivers back here. You got Greg Ratliff back in 10th position. Not used to saying that.
No, not at all, but I'm sure these guys are all settled in now, and I'm sure there's strategy going on in the radio already of undercut, uppercut, what's going to work.
Well, you can see it now. So late in the run, it's seeming like passing getting more and more difficult. Heck, even getting to someone's bumper becoming difficult. So, it's got short pit written all over it, doesn't it?
I agree. I'm going with Darren's philosophy. Come early and make them chase you.
Yeah,
because
that's Barron, not
king.
Darren. Did you say Barron? Sorry.
Yeah, Darren.
Barron, as in Baron Lebosco.
No, Darren.
Okay. All right. No, I'm just saying that was, when I brought it up, I was talking about Barron. It's all good. Yeah, short, make them chase you, though. You're absolutely correct.
In the way the race is setting up, like I said, if I'm back, probably 7th, Adam Newton and that group, I'm starting to look for it.
Your big battle here for second. Person up to Wrecker now. So Person making a move. Oh, and Ripka's right there. He's looking to make a move. Wrecker into the wall. Here we go. Ripka's got position on Person. So Person passed Wrecker. Now Ripka's going to pass them both. Impressive stuff.
Yeah, that's very impressive. And it just looked like, getting under a car, it gets the air off of them. They get loose. Then the second car starts to lose that side draft.
There you go. Just as you were saying it, he kind of got the air off of Ripka. Ripka got a little loose. Leal's in. So George Leal vacates the lead along with Wrecker. They're in. Early pit stops. Otto Viani, Maurer, both in.
Yeah, that's a little earlier than I even thought. It led 22.
Yeah, 22. Awful early here. Now, I'm not sure, but thinking you got to go 23 and 23, 23, 24 to make it. So this is a real short pit here. You see Jason Spears seemingly coming off of pit road.
Yeah, he was one of this is where you're really going to see if the undercut pays off.
We certainly are. This is highly interesting, folks. What's going to happen here? Who's going to pit when? Right now, it's Person and Ripka out front. Some guys are already pitting. It looks like they're coming in, so they can't do any more. Maybe.
You can't give them that much of a advantage. If you run it long now, you're gonna make up for it, but it may take the rest of the race, and one caution's gonna negate that.
So a lot of the leaders in here, you see them all here. Beller assumes the lead along with Rachel Hunt. You got Eric Whiting, Scott Olson, who slipped back quite a bit, Ricky Williams, you got Jason Ratliff, Kulikowski, and Lester. None of them, I believe, have pitted. So, very interesting. They definitely can make it. And I do mean on one more stop, of course, but I'm thinking everybody can. Just some short pitters here, so it's really going to shake up the field when we come back out.
This is definitely going to shake the field up.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, from what I'm seeing, it really didn't, which is a little surprising. Wrecker seemed to slip back into second, and Person is coming off a pit road now, along with Ripka. So, very interesting. Rachel Hunt now assumes the lead as Beller comes into pit. So lap 24 here. Rachel Hunt, Scott Olson, Ricky Williams, Fred Lester still on the track.
Yeah, and they're out there running high 56s, low 57s for lap time. Let's see what Bernard can do for a lap time.
Yeah, Leal should be coming around to complete his lap here. Might have to run, yeah, 54.3, Randy.
Oh, that's 3 seconds a lap.
Yeah, I mean, between 2 and 3 seconds, that is something. Here comes Rachel Hunt onto pit road. So Leal will assume the lead when everybody pits, but right now, Olsen, Williams, and Lester remain on the track, begging for a caution, Randy.
Oh, absolutely. Would love a caution right now.
There's Leal, there's Ricker, Person, and Ripka, I believe, a little fresher tires. Let's look in on the pit board here. So you see Leal on 21, Wrecker on 21, Person on 22, along with Ripka and Bruce. So not any big variance there. It's really Beller back in 13th who has a distinct advantage on tires.
Yeah, and even that one lap, look how they did those lead cars, spreading them out.
Oh, they're so spread out right now. Ricky Williams comes in. That's second place. Lester right behind him. He'll come in. So Olsen, the lone man out there, still blowing off some steam perhaps. He's going to lead this thing. He might run her dry just out there hoping for a caution.
He's in the position where that's probably not a bad idea, and just hope for a caution and cars start racing each other hard.
So it's about 22 seconds back to George Leal. You see here, that's your leader. There's Wrecker, there's Person, then you got Ripka and Bruce. So looks like Bruce might have made a little bit of gains on pit road here. That's no big surprise.
No, he made a great pit stop. And Scott Olsen coming in.
So the He-Hut machine there, a little wobbly there coming in. Looks like he got her down under speed. And hands it over to Leal. Leal in total control right now. These guys got their work cut out for them, trying to run him down. That's the beauty of the short pit, isn't it?
It is, and he got that gap. And it goes back, now everybody has to chase him. And they're already thinking the next pit stop, how early can they come in to get that undercut, to get back in front of him.
So let me ask you here, you're Ripka or Bruce back here in 4th or 5th. When Bruce gets up to him, does he challenge him? Does he want to get by him? Or does he say, hey, how about we work together here and start drafting?
Me personally would draft as much as I can, as long as you're making time. If he doesn't feel he's making time, he's going to try to get around as fast as possible.
Michael Ottoviani, a nice showing for him. And Nate Maurer, haven't talked on Maurer too much. Maurer's been extremely solid in this league, and he has shown, late in races, this is a guy you can almost pencil in the top 5 and almost say, like, really? Wasn't he running 10th or something? No, he's 3rd.
The closer.
Yeah, he's a real closer. He's a heck of a driver, Mr. Maurer. And, of course, Newton back there in 8th. Beller's in 9th. He's got the real fresh rubber. We'll see if he can make up some time. He just set his fastest lap of the race of 54.07. Got Jason Spear in 11th. There's Greg Ratliff. He's in 11th. Spear was in 10th. Tony Ratliff back in 12th. There's James Hebert along with the Toad Man Todd Gilly back in 14th. Michael Walker sitting in 15th. George Rincon. Absolutely love that blue. Always have. He's up 12 spots into 16th, Randy.
It's a great run for him.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's got to be our biggest mover of the race so far.
He absolutely is. Rachel Hunt right there. Now, Rachel pitted late for sure. There's Ian Spear and George Dibble, another big mover. And we talked about George, top 10 in points. He is sitting here plus 10 on the board in 19th position.
Just a steady night. Just, George runs his own race, lets the race come to him, and he utilizes what he can get out of every race.
He does. Something's happened with Eric Whiting. He's gone to the pits, a little banged up. Let's get a replay on it and see what happened. And not much to see here, folks. A little drive down the inside wall, and I got to tell you, it looks like we may have missed something here because there's someone else injured here too. We'll go back. Oh, and there we have it. A little contact. Get the wall up there. Did someone? Is that Paul K up there? Oh,
That's who I believe it is.
Paul K. So, and Whiting just nowhere to go. Very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, coming off that corner, you're on the gas. It's already tight, and if somebody bounces off the wall, there's just no time, and the car doesn't react that fast. It's not the same as IndyCar where you can just turn the wheel and it happens. And these cars, they just slide.
Yeah, great point. That's a very difficult spot to avoid anything. So now it looks like Wrecker in person kind of hunting down George Leal here. So slowly but surely, and they look like, I wouldn't say they're working together, but they're not working against each other, Randy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bernard said, or they realized that we can't race each other and gain on George, so Bernard's going to ride behind there, just use the draft, and he'll push Adam up and try to race for that win.
Absolutely. One more stop. Somewhere around lap 45, we expect people in. And that's what they're setting up for, isn't it? I mean, you just got to be within touch come pit stops.
Absolutely. And, now are they thinking, maybe lap 43, how much can we stretch the fuel on the last run to get that clean air?
So that time by both Person and Wrecker faster than our race leader, maybe a tenth or two. So they're still coming, but it's hard sledding out here. I mean, it's a big track to only gain a tenth, isn't it?
It is, but you get in those aero positions where you're just stuck, and it's frustrating, and you think you should be getting a bigger draft sucking up like on a super speedway, and it just doesn't happen. You get that bubble of air behind the car.
We got ourselves a race here, though, Randy. I mean, Leal's been very, very good. Never, ever, especially when he's leading, say he's not going to win. But you got tough guys and Wrecker in person chasing. Ripka and Bruce lurking in 4th and 5th. I think all these guys are within touch. And Maurer on the move could do something as well.
Absolutely. The top 10, there's still a great chance for the top 10 to, one pit strategy, get some clean air, and they're chasing them.
So Wrecker in person, that time by a tenth slower than the leader. So we see the seesaw, which is Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's such a demanding track. You think it's a big track and you can kind of move around. You get these full race with your entry and your exit and your throttle inputs. One little hiccup on these coming through those corners and your straightaway speed just gets demolished.
Ripka pulling up to the back of Person now. Almost ready to make some moves here. We hop on board with Darren Bruce just a little further behind them there and see if we can get a visual of what's happening up in front of them.
And I wonder if 4 cars nose to tail, if they can help each other and push each other up to George Leal's car and then try to race them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, it's a good theory at least. Like on the straightaway, they should have better speed than him. There's no doubt about that. It's how they handle these corners. I don't know if you've driven the IndyCar, Randy, but, it's the same thing with the IndyCars. You try and draft, and it's really difficult. You almost have to swap the leader once in a while.
Yeah, it's kind of a yo-yo. You always got to keep changing out the leader to keep the momentum going.
So I don't know how much of that truly applies here, but it is some kind of factor. I don't know if they're coming into the corners with more speed than maybe the car can handle, therefore they have to slow up more. Who knows? But it's very even. 2 laps ago, they were a tenth or two faster. This lap, Leal, 2 tenths faster. So it just keeps seesawing back and forth. We can bring up our lap history with George Leal, or our time delta, and you can see from the chart, Randy, there's no smoothness to this chart at all.
There isn't, and that's what I was saying about just having to be so precise. I mean, you have to hit your left front tire on the same mark, on the same corner, every lap, and then you get those long straightaways. Now those straightaways, you're thinking, just hit the corner right, and you drive it in 2 feet farther than you should.
Yeah, it's very demanding, very particular is this track. That time by a 5.9 for George Leal, a 4.7 for Record, a 5.6 for Person. So all within the same range, about a tenth here or there. Recker's starting to show a little something here. Did he learn something during the first run?
Learn to save a little bit and wait until the later in the run. You know, maybe just watching George's corner entry as he just entering a little bit lower to keep the cleaner air.
And that time a little higher for the 11. I don't know if that was on purpose or not. Interesting line. Seems like he's just purposely driving off the bottom a little bit there. Maybe trying to find something.
Trying to find something, maybe to help Bernard, get that clean air so he stays close.
That could be too. Great point there. And Bernie is in fact close, as is Ripka, and Bruce still lurking right behind them.
And he's inching closer, and that's what makes this track so painful, just inching.
Yeah, it's a game of inches, or a simulation of inches, if you will. Here we go, Ripka making a move now. He's going to try and get underneath of Bernard Person, so watch out. Buckshot on the move late in the run once again. Bernie trying to cross over. Can he get there? He's got the preferred line. Wow, Ripka way up the track.
It's going to be the big drag race all the way down into turn 1.
And this is where it gets painful. You can see how far Wrecker's pulled away from these two. This is what happens when you get side-by-side racing. Bernie not giving it up, a little squirrely there, hanging on for dear life. But Bruce has entered the picture.
Exactly, it pulls Darren Bruce right into the back of Lance's car, and now Darren's going to be a part of this battle.
And he'll be looking to make a move. That's kind of how this thing goes. Wrecker in front of them gets a little draft. It looks like that might be Michael or that's Musial, Jacob Musial in the 38 up there. And a little piece of the wall for Musial. He'll give some room to the guys coming.
Class act to let those leaders go by and let them race it out, but definitely Brecker has cleared these guys, and he's still trying to set sail on George Leal.
Yeah, well, he picked up a couple of tenths on Leal last time by. So Leal not getting away. I'm almost a little surprised. The clean air. George so good on the long run. I mean, they're not reeling him in, but he ain't really pulling away either.
No, he seems like he's just able to maintain, and it's almost like they have a string and they're just holding him back some.
They just might. You never know with these guys. Lap 39 of 70 here in the Brickyard, 160. It's RGR Racing, George Leal, your leader. Take a little look a little further back here. Last guy on the lead lap, well, that was Musial. I think he just got lapped. You got Kulikowski back in 23rd. He's hanging around on the lead lap. Lester right in front of him. You got Ricky Williams in 21st. George Dibble back in 20th. There's Jason Ratliff, George McCone, Ian Spears. So that's 17th. Ian qualified well, but he's dropped about 8 spots here, Randy. I mean, this track, it's kind of, it can be like that, you can lose 8 spots here.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and the result could be because the first 5 laps of the run, you pushed really hard.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. Michael Walker, the second, he's having a decent run here in 16th position. He looks pretty good. The Toad Man up in 15th. They got Rachel Hunt. There's A Bear. These two back in 13th and 14th. Jason Spears sitting in 12th. There's Tony Ratliff right in front of him. Greg Ratliff up the corner ahead is the 5 as he tries to hunt down Beller. If you remember, Beller had one of the freshest set of tires out there. Not a whole lot of progress. I'm a little surprised about that.
Yeah, me too. I thought some of the guys that came in later would actually make a bigger run as this run went on, but it just seems like they stall out.
Yeah, they definitely do seem to stall out. Newton right in front of him in 8th. There's Otto Viani having a really good race. He's started 6th, currently in 7th. Maurer keeps marching forward slowly but surely. And then it's back to Bruce, who's behind Ripka and Person. In front of them, Wrecker and your leader.
And about this point of this run, you're going to start hearing within the next couple laps of the short pitting, the undercut's going to start coming into effect again.
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, you really got to go for it here, right? So if you're Bruce, Ripka, or Person back here in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I mean, you're going to try and short pit, are you not?
Yeah, you got to do something before George decides. Don't let him dictate your race. If he's going to come in, you either got to run long and hope to catch him on the backside, or you got to come in with him.
Well, when we look at it, we've seen Olsen had ran 26 laps. So we are almost in that pit window. I think the pit window around lap 45, or the completion of lap 45, going to 46, probably, that's about the earliest you're going to see someone, Randy.
Yeah, absolutely.
These guys keep running. Wrecker keeps making up time the last few laps. Let's look in on our Delta this time. I think you'll see something a little different. And I'm wrong. Very choppy chart here. So it continues to be pretty much status quo here. The last 5 laps, looks like actually Leo may have gained a 10th. Person's in already with the super short pit. Wow! Bernie making moves here on lap 44, going to 45, so he's rolling the dice here.
He must have heard what we were talking about. You can't do the same as the leader, and he's going to mix it up. But at the same time, this actually forces everybody else's hands that they don't want to stay out there, or are they willing to risk running this one long?
Yeah, this is interesting. He's really putting it to his competition, making them make a choice. Rachel Hunt came in. So did Jason Spear.
Yeah, absolutely. That one lap of 2 to 3 seconds faster, that puts Bernard right up on George Leal's bumper.
Yeah, this is big, and they're going to stay out. So everybody's staying out. As far as I can tell, we'll look in on Greg Ratliff and see if he decides to come in. On the cockpit, he is not coming in. So I thought Greg might try a short pit because it's just not his night tonight back in 9th. But A-Bear comes in. So Person, I mean, this could be really interesting. Bernie looking for 4 in a row, I believe. I'm not sure. I think maybe 3 in a row in this series. Man, that would be impressive.
Very impressive, and he's on quite a roll, and I'm actually surprised more people didn't come in that lap.
Me too. I thought they'd try and cover Bernard off, but they got their own plans, and they're going to stick to him. Now, we're still on 26 to go, so I think Bernie might have come in a little early. I don't know if the gas will hold up, seeing as how Olsen was the only guy to do 26 laps on the last run. On the last run. I don't know. I think Bernie might have come in too early.
He might have to save a little bit, but you know, that was the ultimate undercut. I mean, he's going to push it right to the end and fuel.
Well, the beauty of that kind of undercut, you come in that early compared to others, you don't even really have to push the car in those first 5 laps, right, to get the lead. You can manage that tire wear pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. He can run just consistent laps coming out of the pits. He doesn't have to push right away, and just, you know, these guys staying out. You get 4 or 5 laps of fresh rubber while they're on old rubber. You're forcing them to chase you then.
So there's our leader, George Leal. We're on board. Behind him, Wrecker. There's Ripka. Here's Bruce. So they're all on pit road here. You got Maurer and Autoviani in too.
A bunch coming in, but now they're going to come out and be racing each other, and Bernard's going to be out there running his own lap.
It's very interesting. Where is Bernard Persson? We're going to find out as this pit stop goes along right now. Beller, your new race leader. Adam Newton in second. So Beller putting that late pit stop in the first one to good use. There's Persson. There's pit entrance. We go to the blimp cam. He is passing pit road. Everybody else still in their pit stalls. There goes Maurer. You can see a couple of guys. There's Leal. The 8 is through, and we'll have quite a decent lead here.
Absolutely. He's going to have half a straightaway, if not a full straightaway lead with only 24 laps to go.
Yep, Beller comes in. He relinquishes the lead. Here comes Newton right behind him. So your new race leader, the Toad Man, Todd Gilly, out here in that Kailu glass machine. And he's coming in, and that looked like a good entrance there. I like the way he whipped down off that track. Walker the second. He assumes the lead. How about that? The 22 going to lead a few laps here. Ricky Williams second, Lester in third, and then Bernard Persson. My goodness, he is going to have close to a 6-second lead with 23 to go. Looking to put 3 in a row on him. Can the 8 hold him off?
And right now, I'd love to be in that position. You know, he has that lead. They have to use their tires to catch him. He doesn't have to use his tires to hold him off yet. He can still kind of run his laps. You know, he's probably going to lose some at the first run or the first part of this run. But by the time they catch him, hopefully it's going to level off and it's going to be harder for them to pass him.
So Michael Walker comes in. There's Ricky Williams. He'll assume the race lead. Not far behind. Well, you got Lester, who's currently in second. And then Persson, he's in the same corner. So Persson continuing to hold that lead. Leal has not made up any distance, which tells me 2 things. Bernie's not holding back. He's racing hot laps here. I'm going to make this lead as big as possible. And you got Leal, who's not pushing quite yet. He's waiting for a couple laps. As you can see behind Leal, there's a whole gaggle, or not a whole gaggle, but Wrecker, Ripka, and Bruce right there.
Absolutely, and Bernard had that lap car in front of him, getting some draft. You know, that's helping him as well, where George has no draft in front of him, so he's pushing the air by himself.
Yeah, George starting to make up ground now. Or that's actually on Fred Lester, who Persson just passed. So He is still about 5.5 seconds behind Bernard Person. 20 to go. I love this call. No matter what happens, you know, I always say it, Randy, if you follow the leader, you're just going to follow the leader. Bernie did something different.
He did a drastic different, which great for him, and they're chasing him now. So, you know, I guess in 20 laps, we'll see if it paid off. Maybe it was a couple laps too early, but can't argue with it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I like it if he can make it, so we'll see. Ricky Williams comes in. That's going to hand the official lead over to Person if he didn't already have it. Lester is in as well in the 78 machine. There's Person. There's Leal just entering corner 1. Now 5 seconds behind. So he's making up about a half second every couple laps. I mean, that will slow down at some point. It's going to get really interesting, especially with these 3 cars right behind Leal. And that's something else when you short pit, Randy. These cars get to battling, and Bernie will be laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh, absolutely. If they catch George and start trying to pass them, they racing each other, they're just gonna fall like they have anchors behind their cars. So
an interesting race developed. The race lead down to 4.2 seconds. Bernie is fading. 19 to go. Not sure he can hang on, but he will not give up without a fight. This thing is going to heat up, folks.
And how hard is he just running his laps, saving some tires? You know, you don't know how hard they're pushing and how hard it is to pass on this track.
Man, they're coming 3.7 seconds back.
Oh, they're definitely motoring.
Let's hop on board here with Rivka and just have a look at what these guys are doing. Looks like they're pretty much working together here. Rekka and Rivka have caught George Leal. This could be the battle for winner if they catch up and get by Person. That's a big if.
It is, and when they get to Bernard, are they going to start racing each other to try to be in second to race for the win?
As the laps tick down, the things will heat up. People will make moves. Right now, everybody in line trying to hunt down the 8.
And that 8's just praying, let's go faster, just clicking them off.
I like what I'm seeing from Bruce here. He's sticking that nose out. Like you said, getting a little air on it. That really helps, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It helps to turn in immensely. And, you know, how much is he able to save his tires by just being in the back of this and letting the draft pull him down the straightaways?
So you see, they all kind of fan out. It's almost like they're being kind to each other. I don't believe what I'm seeing.
I don't believe it either. I think that's just chance that they're all running different lines. But they're definitely still, they're not riding, they're racing.
They're racing. Bernard Person now 2.8 out in front. 17 to go. The guys behind him running about 5/10 faster at times.
Right now, Bernard would love to see a lap car a couple seconds ahead of him just to get a little draft to help.
There's a lot of things he'd like to see right now, I would imagine. But he's the leader. That's most important. Olsen into the pits.
Yes, and as the leader, like I said, they can catch him, but passing him, that's going to be another whole race within itself.
You see there that bubble in between those cars, Randy. The second, third, fourth, they all have that 3, 4, 5 car lengths in between them.
And that's the question that when they catch, if they catch Bernard, which they seem to be doing, are they going to hit that bubble?
Yeah, those tires worn out. Can you effectively navigate that bubble? This is going to get just wild here. 2.3 seconds for the leader, Bernard Person. These guys desperately trying to get up there. They may be spent by the time they do.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where I like Darren Bruce's position. You know, is he just saving some tire and just, like I said, just using that draft to suck him up on the straightaways and saving something for the last few laps? Where George Leal looks like he's racing hard.
I mean, it's hard to tell who's racing hard, who isn't. I think Wrecker is starting to think about, hey, I got to get going here. I don't know who's pushing. I think they're all pushing for all they're worth.
And if Wrecker starts racing George, Bernard's going to be looking in the mirror loving that.
Yeah, well, you're right about these times. They're starting to stabilize. I don't know if this is enough of a gap for Bernie, but 2-second gap, and it's not coming down like it once was. 15 to go. Like you said, if they get racing, Randy, I mean, this could be Bernie's race.
Absolutely, and, starting to kind of stabilize where now instead of a half a second a lap, a tenth of a second a lap, and then it's going to be a half a tenth where they're equalized out.
Oh, Ronnie out there in YouTube land, thank you for being here, Ronnie. We're enjoying this one because I truly don't know who's going to win this race. Person out front, he's in control, but this old rubber, I don't know if it's going to hang on. We're down to 1.6 seconds. It continues to come down. And then you got these four cars. Randy, I mean, if you had to pick one out of these four, who are you picking?
George Leal's been pretty much the class of the field with that clean air. I think if he gets around, although Adam Wrecker looks like he's pretty sporty on this run, like he's got something for George.
Yeah, sounds like you're betting on all the horses.
Yep, I'm trying to. Trying to increase my odds the best I can.
That's it. I'll take them all, please. Give me $2 to win on everybody. So Bruce seemingly falling off a bit. Could be KG vet stuff. Hard to tell. The lead now 1.5 seconds. 13 laps remaining. Now it's getting to that point where they're getting within that draft zone of Bernard Person. Randy, do you start pulling that car down the track trying to break the draft?
I think when they get within they have to be with like 7/10, yes. Start breaking the draft, trying to break those guys up a little bit. But right now, I think Bernie's just trying to hit his marks and run laps until they get to them.
Yeah, they're coming. We're down to about a 1 second gap. They are in the picture. Leal, Wrecker, Ripka, and Bruce falling off a little bit.
I stand corrected. I think you were correct, and they were racing this whole time.
I think so. I mean, I just don't know that these guys are going to lay back that much with a guy with that big of a lead. So, they're not trying to pass each other, but I'm not sure anybody can get to anybody to make a move.
And this is where we're going to really see if those fresher tires are any advantage with the air bubble behind Bernie's car. Are they going to stall out there?
Yeah, we are about to find out. 0.6 seconds now. Leal and Wrecker closing fast. They seem like they are starting to separate themselves a little bit.
Yeah, they now have the draft of Bernard's car, and now this is the first time since the beginning of the race that George had actually been in dirty air. How's his car going to react? How's his driving going to change when he is that dirty air?
Maurer all alone in 6th. We got Beller back in 7th. Greg Ratliff, a nice recovery up to 8th. There's Newton in 9th. Otto Viani slipped back to 10th position. Back up front. Got to see what's happening.
They are there.
They're definitely there, but it has miraculously slowed down since they got there. That bubble is truly in effect here, Randy.
Absolutely, and that's actually very surprising. It just shows the dirty air on the nose of these cars, what it does for the handling.
Good corner there by Leal, brings him a little bit closer. Person hanging on, looking stable. Gonna be a tough pass. 10 to go.
And now Bernard's going to do some defensive moves, just to block any kind of run they're getting.
Up on board with Adam Recker here, currently in third position.
And it's a perfect position because if George gets next to Bernie and they get racing.
Bernie's going in! Bernie has gone in! He does not have the fuel to finish this race. I thought he pitted too early. He did pit too early. Wow! Unfortunate there.
Shock. What a shocker. I thought, he was going to run it. I thought he was right on the edge of making it to the end, but maybe out in front, all alone without that draft, he just uses that much more fuel.
So with 9 to go, new life breathed into these guys. They know this is a race for the win. We hop on board with Buckshot. That's Lance Ripka, currently in third position. Wrecker right in front of him. Leal now has that clean air that everybody searches for. Can he do something with it and separate himself?
And that's probably the last thing that Adam Wrecker or Lance Ripka wanted to see is George Leal with clean air on his nose.
Crazy, crazy events here. Bernard Person pitting with 9 to go.
Oh, a huge points night just dwindling away for Bernard.
Yeah, he'll come out of the pits in 20th position. Wow, these guys look so evenly matched. Bruce still around in fourth, waiting for carnage perhaps, and he slips into victory lane.
And we've seen wilder things happen in the end of these races, so he's not even out of it yet.
He is not out of it, and that's why you hang in there and persevere. These guys get to racing, anything can happen. Even if they get side by side, Randy, he could find himself with them in about 2 laps.
Absolutely, and when they're side by side, you get such a huge tow down the straightaways. You're going into the corner 10 mile an hour faster than the cars in front of you.
The other thing is we're coming up on some lap traffic in a couple laps here. Well, maybe not. Kulikowski a little farther out, but he could play a factor here late in this race.
Absolutely, and Adam Wrecker just staying right there, just waiting for any kind of mistake to pounce on George Leal's lead.
Yeah, Wrecker all over Leal. He's trying to disturb that air a bit. And that's a great thing to try and do. You got to get right up on there and push that air right up on that bumper. Ripka fighting the machine off the corner.
Oh, I'm sure they wish they had fresh tires on, but this is the worst the car's going to handle all night.
This is where champions are made here, the last laps at Indy. You can just see how this car is not completely hooked up here tonight.
This looks so tight, and then coming off the corner, the front end grabs, and it gets a little bit loose.
It looks skatey, like they're skating with all 4 tires.
I'm sure their tires are completely gone, and, they're trying to race for a win and hold on to the car and not wreck it every corner.
And Ripka into the wall a little bit, so Ripka is struggling a little bit, but he's right there. That's what a Lance Ripka struggle looks like. A 3rd place in touch for the race win.
Yeah, with, one mistake between the 1st and 2nd and sneak away with a win.
5 to go. Betting windows are closed, folks. Beautiful Indianapolis Motor Speedway here. Absolutely love this place. I think our own Jared Carr down at Indianapolis today in real life, checking things out.
Yeah, he's out there, but he went to Eldora, IRP, you know. Hope you had a great weekend. Lots of racing out there.
Wow, that's a bumper hanging around on the track there. Not sure who that was.
Well, they're fortunate that didn't bring out a caution, because that would have turned this race completely upside down.
I literally have no idea what car that was, but someone has lost a bumper. Could have been Mike Brown. And it was. So Mike Brown there with a banged up machine.
Hate to see that happen in the closing laps.
Now Wrecker and Leal separate themselves from Ripka. It's a two-car battle with 4 to go. Coming down to 3 to go here to settle this thing. The Brickyard 160.
Definitely have a left car in front of him, you know, if that can upset George's car, you know, push him up a little bit where Adam can get a run underneath him.
You know, I love the way Wrecker is running this thing, but I talking about almost everybody except for Leal. Leal, just the model of consistency here. You know, we see this out of race winners and champions, Randy. They don't make mistakes.
Yeah, he's just been in his own thing. He's hit his marks, and it's every lap he's hit his marks and hit his marks. And he hasn't traveled or anything to give anybody an opportunity to get a run on him.
So here you go, coming down, 3 to go. Kulikowski is coming in the picture. He shouldn't play a factor here, but you never know. It's all where they meet up.
Absolutely, and it looks like they should pass him on the straightaway. If not, it's going to be real tricky. Nope, he's going to move over and let him go.
Yeah, really a real classy move from Kulikowski there. Leal goes on by, 2 to go, and he's opened up a little gap here. Wrecker is seeing this one slip away. Leal, he's really done well here tonight. Up 3 spots, started in 4th. Of course, Wrecker was on the pole. Ripka started in 2nd position, so both of them actually down a spot.
Yeah, just George, you know, he started off right. He let the race, let the tires come in, you know, took that lead and just been in control of the whole race since then.
George Leal through the corner. And he's kind of, you know, he's entering a little higher here, getting a little more rotation with that vehicle. 1 lap left for the 51. Down through 1, successful corner. Wrecker pushing. You can see the car trying to break loose on him as he pushes the machine beyond what it's capable of.
Yeah, he's putting 110% into it. Just, you know, praying George slips up just a little bit to get a run. George just been flawless. Just in his own tonight.
He really has a flawless performance by the 51. Down now through corner 4. One more. Wrecker goes way up high trying something different. No avail. George Leal gonna win the Brickyard 160. Wrecker will come home in 2nd. Ripka 3rd. Brutes come in 4th. Maurer 5th. You got Beller, Greg Ratliff, Newton, Otto Viani, and Tony Ratliff, your top 10. But the night belongs to George Leal.
Just a dominating performance all night, you know. Congratulations to George, you know. He definitely earned this one and, you know, had the right strategy. I wasn't sure. I thought Bernie had it, but I was wrong, and George had the right strategy for it.
Yeah, he played this one very, very well. Had to be patient. I mean, if Bernie had the gas, who knows? But I don't think he was going to hold off Leal excellent job of racing here. We wait for him to come around here and do his burnouts. Always like to see those these days. It's almost like a dog walking competition going on here, Randy.
Oh, it absolutely is, and a lot of drivers take pride in that and try to outdo the last one.
While we wait for that, we're going to bring up our updated championship points. And it looks like not a whole lot of change, so we'll get that off there and check out and see if Mr. Leal will do a little burnout for us. Here he goes.
He's definitely earned this one. This is not an easy race to win at all.
That's a happy burnout right there. He's almost trying to flip that thing over, I think. And here we go. There's a little dog walking for you. How about that, Randy?
That's cool. That is very cool. He's, like I said, the next winner has to try beating this one, and that's going to be a hard one to beat.
That's going to be a hard one. We've seen some real good ones, but I like this side action, that yaw-out action here. He put on a show, is Mr. Leal. Excellent, excellent burnout, along with an excellent race. Unbelievable. Right now, let's get to a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll get some race interviews. And, of course, we'll talk to George himself. All right, back here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, thrilling race, really. I mean, George Leal holding off Wrecker. Ripka and Bruce were chasing. Bruce, or a person, threw a wrench in it with an early pit stop, and it finally decided he didn't have enough gas to get there, so he had to vacate that 3-in-a-row try. But it was Leal. What a performance. What a job. Let's look into these points again and just see. It's really only Gilly moving up one. Dibble moves down one. So Gilly into the top 10. Tony Ratliff up into 12th, and Walker falls to 13th. Status quo at the top, but Greg not quite the night he's used to having, so his lead will shrink ever slightly. And, you know, we got a lot of races, so maybe, just maybe, Wrecker or Ripka can get up here and challenge for this thing. All right, let's turn our attentions here to the race interviews, and we'll start it off with the well-known buckshot. That's Lance Ripka. Lance, third place here tonight. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, Dean. It was a fun race.
Absolutely, it was a fun race. Let's start with that. I like fun. You know, we had Person out there with this super short pit. He's maybe 7 seconds ahead of you guys. What are you thinking there, Lance? Were you concentrating on the guys around you, or were you kind of working together to, like, let's run down Bernie?
On that last pit stop, when he went in, I had no idea how he was going to make it the rest of the way, so I was just mainly focused on George and Adam, but you know, Bernie's got tricks up his sleeve, so I was like, what the heck, he might be able to do it.
He just might. So that really maybe not that influential. I thought maybe you guys were working together, but let's talk about Indy here. I mean, it's hard to pass. You get in those bubbles of air. Makes it really difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can gain a lot of time when you're, you know, a ways back, but once you get on their bumper, the corners get tighter. Yeah, you can catch them easy, but passing them is going to be another story.
So what were you thinking late, Lance? I mean, the car, you're thinking I got one move here at some point, and then maybe with 3 to go, it was kind of over?
I overdrove turn 3 2 laps in a row, and it kind of, I don't know, it kind of took the tires away. And at that point, I was just kind of hoping that Adam and George would have started racing each other and would allow me to get up there and maybe have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, We would enjoy you being back out on the track. You're closing a little bit on the points here, so the points still in play. Still could run down Greg. Greg, a bit of an off night in 7th tonight. You gained some traction that way. Congrats on 3rd place, Lance. We'll turn the mic over to you. You thank anybody you'd like to.
I want to start out Ripka Designs, the teammates in Spartan Racing. You guys, WT TV, for doing this broadcast. Do an amazing job. And obviously the guys in the background, George, Greg, Todd, all those guys, they do an amazing job creating this amazing league.
Absolutely. Big shout out to the owners of the league and to Lance. 3rd place here tonight, Randy. And we may have lost Randy. So Adam Recker, 2nd place here tonight, the bridesmaid. Adam, you're so close yet again.
Yeah, here we are again, but it's all good. I enjoy racing with everybody. I mean, it's always good to start up front and stay there. There's a lot of good guys in this league, and they take advantage of your mistakes, and it's just good to get a good run again.
Well, talk a little bit about that, because as tough as it was to pass tonight, how did Leal get by you? And, do you regret maybe not fighting harder at that point in the race?
I mean, looking back at it, yeah, but I think the first run, I just kind of got into a big lead and might have burned myself up a little too much, and then I was getting pretty tight off the exit of the corners, and I just kept messing up turn 2 every lap basically, so I couldn't get a good run off the corner.
Turn 2, one of the trickier corners for sure. Very tough. Adam, though, it was a thrilling event here, watching you guys race it out. Just talk about, like, how were you approaching getting up to someone? It looked like you could get to George. Were you trying to get up, like, on the right on him and kind of disturb that air on his rear bumper?
Yeah, I was trying to get close. I get close after turn 1, but then get to turn 2 and then just lose 2/10 or whatever it was. But yeah, it's key to get good runs off the corners here because the straightaways are pretty long, so that momentum it just carries down the whole length.
Well, speaking of momentum, I mean, you got a ton of it, Adam. But we got to get you in victory lane. I mean, is it next week, Adam?
I'll certainly try, but I think we have a break, but maybe. I mean, Richmond was a good track. I think it was my first second place in the league whenever we raced a couple months ago. But yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, just trying to get better every day.
You're doing a great job. You definitely, I keep saying it, you're one of the best here now, Adam, and probably always have been, but I've been noticing you up at the front a lot. You're going to break through with a multitude of wins here coming up. It's 2nd place tonight, though. A great run, great event. We'll turn the mic over to you, brother. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, appreciate it, Dean. Yeah, obviously thank you guys. Like I said last week, you guys do a great job. Um, it's not hard commentating a race. But yeah, no, appreciate what you guys do. Appreciate the league. I mean, like Lance said, Todd, Greg, George. It's probably not easy running the whole league and setting everything up, but thanks to them and just thanks to my teammates again. They always help out when we have questions. So appreciate everybody.
All right, that's Adam Recker, number 11, 2nd place here tonight. And we turn our attentions to the number 51, George Leal, down in victory lane. George, how about it, a victory here tonight?
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It was an awesome race.
Awesome race for sure. I mean, tell us a little bit about it. Like early on, right? You're fighting with like Person and Wrecker. There's a little swapping going on, if I'm not mistaken. You come out on top. How important did you think that was at that point in the race?
Yeah, definitely felt like it was real important. Those guys, they were a little better than me on the beginning of the run, so I felt any advantage I could have to start the next run was going to really help me out.
Okay, so you get the last run. I think the last run, it, this after the first pit stop, actually, you had a bit of a lead on these guys. Did you find it concerning at all that they kind of ran you down there?
Well, I knew they had at least a lap fresher tires on me, I think, for the most part. I saw Lance come from pretty far back. So I was sitting there thinking if I wanted to short pit again, but I actually thought that we were running a 64 lap race. That's the reason why I pitted so early the first time, and I almost messed up and pitted with the other guys.
Oh man, I mean, we seen that with Person. Did you think you were racing Person for the lead, or did you think there's no way he can make it?
I was pretty confident he couldn't make it. I would imagine those guys probably thought it was a 64 lap race too, because I think that's what it said on our schedule. But I went to pit and I clicked my F1 key to see how many laps were left, and it, 28 laps, and I was like, I know I can't make 28, so I had to go around a couple more times.
Well, George, we talked a lot about it. You were very steady. I mean, amazing race here tonight. Did not see any mistakes coming out of you tonight. And this has been, very consistent over the year. Congrats on this victory, man. Can't be more impressed with how you're driving out there, beating some real tough competition. We'll give you the floor, man. Any sponsors, anybody you'd like to thank, you go right ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dean. Thank ACS for sure. They do a lot for our league and keep you guys doing the broadcast. Thank Todd and George, Greg, and a whole bunch of other guys that do a lot of work to keep this league going. Thank the competitors, especially Adam Recker. The guy's extremely good racer. He's extremely clean. He's going to win one here soon. Also thank Mike Ottaviani. Me and him run a lot of practice together. You guys know he practices a lot, so he's good to bounce ideas off of.
You betcha, man. Practice works. Glad to hear that. Congratulations, George. Randy, if you're here, that was our race winner, George Leal.
Yeah, I am back, and what a great race, not only by George, but it was actually a great race by everybody. Saw some tempers flared, some door slamming, hit a little bit of everything tonight.
We did. I mean, great Indy race. This is kind of what you expect out of Indy. Some attrition, some different pit strategy, and, and perhaps a little bit of anger here and there. Certainly happens. But it's been a good one. I hope you come in and tune out for the next one because they're all good here. Every Sunday, 9 p.m., we have the RGR Racing League. But here from the Brickyard 160, that's going to wrap it up. I'm Dean Doucette. He's Randy McCanny. We'll see you right here next time